Welcome back. In this demonstration, we are going to learn how to draw the lines for the surface decoration on our 6-cube David Smith sculpture. In the last session, we got done folding all of our boxes, 4 B colors, 2 A colors, and 1 C colored rectangular prism. In making the line pattern, we have to think about the three-dimensional overall form of our box. Then with our line pattern, we need to make sure that we're creating some interesting surface texture. We're going to use pattern and repetition, and also we want to make sure we have unity so that everything on the box works together. To make sure that we get that done correctly, there's going to be some flaps that we don't end up drawing on. So you can see in this example, I've got these little X's here because those are the sides I didn't need to draw on. You'll notice how the first flap goes underneath, and then the second flap goes over the top, third and fourth, so that on the top flap there we make sure that our pattern wraps around the three-dimensional form and makes sense on all sides. So to make sure that we get our boxes folded up correctly, take the little glue tab, fold it on the inside, and then whichever way you fold down doesn't matter. Just make sure that one edge is on the top there. Then you fold the next glue tab in, the other one's in, until you have a cube. Once your cube is folded up, take that top flap and open it all the way up, and take your marker and put a little X on the next flap, an X on the next flap, and a little X on the next flap. Okay? Then close it back up and flip your box over. Now do the same thing. Take that top flap, lift it up, an X on the next one, an X on the next one, and an X on the next one. Then you can open your whole box up. And we want to make sure that our line pattern is not on any of those X's. Okay? Then, moving on, we're going to take our line pattern and go from one edge here to the other. But we want to make sure that our surface texture has some pattern and repetition. And of course, unity, so that the whole thing works together nicely. So, you could use curvy lines, you could use zigzag lines, you could use a variety of lines and then have some that are thicker and some that then go thinner, so you have some interesting wavy effect happening. You might need to fill in some little empty spots and make some shapes that go in between your lines, kind of like here how I did that one, or these little dot patterns here like I did that one. So to get started, I'm going to work on the left hand middle cube here, or middle square there, and do this same kind of dot rounded line pattern like that. I'm going to be thinking of both sides of it as I do it, so that as I do it, I get those lines going from one edge to the next and going around. We want the pattern or the lines to continue and flow from one side to the other. Then notice I'm kind of going around the bottom, and I'm going really fast in this because I'm fast forwarding the demonstration video. But you're taking your time, you're going slow, you're making sure that you're careful so you do a nice, neat job. We don't want any scribbling, we want your lines to be nice. Of course, hold your Sharpie well so your Sharpie works properly. Once you get those first two sides down, you're going to have to flip your box over. And then you're going to have to take these lines and make sure that they go around the next parts of your design that you create. Whether they're curved or diagonal or zigzag, just make sure that they look nice and they flow through the picture. Okay? The fourth side is really the one that's the hardest. It's coming up next. And with the fourth side, you really have to make sure that your other side is going to match. We have to think of this left-hand side here, but also what's on the back side, this one here. And we have to make sure that those patterns work together. You're going to have to flip it over and make sure that one line matches up with the next. Okay, you can do this by flipping the box back and forth, or as you'll see in a moment, I draw these lines on this side over onto the middle of this box, and then I flip it over and complete all of the lines so that they match up. Right here I make those go over straight, and then I match them up on this side. Okay, once you get all the sides of your box done, or that middle row of like square pieces, then take your box and fold it closed. Once you fold your box closed, you have to think of the top. How are you going to take the pattern that's on the outside of the box and bring it onto the top, or wrap it over onto the top so that all those lines fit together? You want to have unity. You want to kind of create the same feel of line pattern on the top, but you might have to do some creative things. You might have to add a space. You might have to add a kind of funky geometric or organic shape to fill in the space, kind of like this teardrop I just put there. Or you might have to just kind of create some new lines that wrap around the corners or go right into other lines on the other sides. The main thing is you want it to look nice. You want to have unity so the whole piece goes together. And you want it to flow from one side to the next. Okay, so when you get done, your whole box should be finished. The lines should be nice, should be even, all the shapes colored in if you have them, and the lines nicely done, having unity from one side of the box to the next. And here is what those final pieces look like. We have the two boxes, this one that I just got done doing, and the other one's kind of seeing that each one looks a little different so that they're not boring and they don't all look the same, but they have kind of a unity of line, making sure the three-dimensional form flows, the line creates some pattern or repetition, and that unity, everything is working together.